Hey everyone, it's Brian Porter and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a little modification. So we're going to be going through this Heritage Les Paul here. Picked this up in a deal with a customer. Don't even know what pickups are in here right now. So what we're actually going to do is just kind of walk you through the whole process of swapping the existing pickups out. We're going to put in our Anthem Plus pickups, so I'll show you those in just a minute, what those look like. This guitar is a little bit beat up, as you can see. It's got some reliking going on here. There's a little crack in the headstock. There's a lot of interesting things going on with this guitar. So we're gonna go ahead and try to make it sound better, try to modify it, make it sound really cool. This video also gonna cover a lot of topics. We're gonna try to get through this as fast as we can, but we're also gonna show you taking out these pickups. We'll find out what they are, and then we'll show you reinstalling our Anthem Plus humbuckers as well. So let's take a look at those Anthem Pluses here. I'll set that guitar down. Here we are, Anthem Pluses. We've got the slightly aged covers on these just because this guitar does have a lot of dings and bruises. We wanted to have something that kind of matched with that as well. So we did, show you up close here, we did kind of some relicking treatments on the pickups. A lot of cool stuff going on. These are our newest humbucker model, the Anthem Plus. They're basically like a PAF with Alnico 4 magnets, a little bit better balance, a little bit fuller bridge sound. So our goal is to kind of breathe a little bit of life into this guitar. All right, so we got the pickups almost loosened up there in the pickup rings. We're just about ready to pull them off. But first thing we're gonna do is actually unsolder the old pickups. So we haven't opened up this cavity before. We have no idea what to expect. So we'll get our soldering iron turned on and we're gonna go ahead and remove those old pickups, figure out what's going on here with the wiring and where everything's going. So let's take a look inside this cavity. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at what is going on here with the pickups. I'm actually gonna move this straight down here for you guys, so you can see exactly what's going on with the wiring. We've got kind of some interesting stuff going on here. We just trying to locate each of the pickups. It looks like everything is metal braided, which is good. So you can see down here we've got, obviously, this is kind of a nightmare of soldering going on here. There's all sorts of solder pools on the back of each of those pots. And we've got the pickups coming in on the metal braids. You can see them grounded. Each pickup is grounded to, so there's the neck pickup. Metal braids grounded to the back of the pot, and then hot wire goes into here, and then the capacitor connects over to each corresponding volume pot. So what we're trying to do is figure out, obviously this would be the wire from the switch. As you can see, it kind of goes to the jack here. This jack is really loose, and these pots will probably be replaced at some point anyways, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna show you the removal of those pickups. So really, we just wanna focus on a couple spots. We wanna focus on where the hot wire goes into the lug there on each pickup, and then getting rid of the ground wire. So we've got our soldering iron heated up. Go ahead and get those guys out here. It's sometimes when these get really crazy like this, you may just want to start from scratch putting in new pickups. But like we said, for the purpose of this video, we're going to make sure that we heat that solder joint for the ground. Pull that up, and it looks like there's also an existing ground that's wrapped around this thing. It's pretty nasty in here. So we'll pull that hot wire out. So you can see almost there's like a little loop hanging out there. We probably will just cut that off for now and get it cleaned up a little bit. So we'll remove that. Again, we're opening this up literally for the first time, so you're just walking through this with us. And we're gonna go back to the bridge pickup, remove part of the inner wire of the braid. Basically a good idea to have tweezers, especially with metal braided wire, obviously as it heats up. It's gonna cause some issues with burning your fingers. So we get the ground wire out on both. Using a nice wedge tip soldering iron so I can get a lot of heat. Using a pretty high-end expensive soldering iron just to make sure I can get the heat in there and get the pickups removed. And it looks like maybe there's a bunch of excess, yeah, it looks like there's excess wire. So they tuck the lead wires, if you can see that, they tucked them kind of into the channel. So we've got tons of room here. So if these pickups, you know, this is kind of a good thing if you are swapping out pickups and you want to sell the old ones. If you've got this much length on the lead wire, that's actually a really good thing. All right, so back over here, we're going to get the old pickups removed again from the pickup rings. We'll talk about kind of how we set those up, how I like to set them up just to get the springs to the right length. So we've got just a simple, you can see here, the camera will focus there, just a slotted mounting screw. So we're gonna go ahead and get those loosened up. Move this guitar just over slightly so we can make sure that we're not scratching it, even though this one is already pre-relicked, I guess, when we got it. So we'll get those screws out, we'll put the new pickups in kind of the same way. Talk about, once I get these out, just a little trick with the springs that I like to do just to make the install a little bit easier. Now we've got to deal with these broken pickup rings. At some point we'll probably want to replace these as well with that crack in there. I prefer to use the Phillips screwdriver bits for mounting the humbuckers, but we'll go ahead and get rid of the old pickup here. And then we're going to put in the new pickup. So this is a bridge. We're going to put in, again, our Relic Anthem PAF Plus bridge pickup here. We've got our springs right here, and we're going to just trim a little bit of length. These are probably, you know, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches long springs. We really don't need them to be that long because of the pickup heights. So we're just gonna chop just a little bit off that, just to kind of make the install job a little bit easier. And we've got our brand new mounting screws as well. So again, we're concerned a little bit about, we could probably take some super glue or something and maybe repair that. Not at this time for the purposes of this video. Put those screws back in there. Go ahead and stick our springs up. Now the side that we cut, I like to put that up near the top of the pickup ring and not near the base plate, because we don't want that cut part of the spring to try to spiral through the mounting hole of the pickup. That would not be ideal. And then we make sure we're going to put the pole pieces to the outside, so the thickest part of the pickup ring. And this will be a little trickier. Usually you kind of squeeze the pickup ring, but we can't really squeeze that pickup ring because of that little break there. So we're just going to try to get it in position and then just start the threads, just like that. Now obviously our pickups that we're putting in here are a 4-conductor pickup as opposed to metal braided, but the install is very much the same. We just got to make sure that we got the ground and the hot identified. So if you're putting in some pickups, make sure you're paying attention to your manufacturer color codes. And what we're going to do with this is just kind of get it up to a general height that we think is going to work in this guitar. I tried to leave the bridge intact where it was before because I was pretty happy with the setup. So it's looking nice in that pickup ring. We'll go ahead and do the neck pickup, put them in place, and then talk about the next steps. All right, pickups are ready. We got them both loaded up in their appropriate pickup rings. We're making sure, of course, that they're going to be oriented the same way. One thing to watch in these, shouldn't be a problem with this guitar, but as we have these mounting screws sticking out quite a bit, I'm going to make sure there's room for them in the routes here too. We want to make sure they're not bottoming out. If you have longer screws, you're going to run into that problem on a humbucker. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and trim those just to make sure I don't run into that by the time I get them. Use our big thick pliers. Just cut them slightly smaller so we can make sure that it'll drop in there just fine. You can hear those little pieces flying across the shop. Good idea to wear some eye protection at this point as well. All right, so we got our pickups done. A good idea as well to check your readings on the pickups, make sure they work before you put them in the guitar. We're going to make sure that we also have a way to mark which one is neck and bridge, just to make our lives easier when we're turning this guitar over and installing them. So we're going to feed in the neck pickup first. This is important because the wires in this case are going kind of through the channel into the electronics. It doesn't really matter, but if you have one of those guitars that the wire goes into the bridge cavity and then there, you've got to put that neck pickup in first. So let's make sure that we feed it through this channel. The nice thing about the way these are done is everything is pretty good. So we've already got it. You can see they're coming out the back. Great. We didn't have to worry about if it was going to fit or not. Big thing too is making sure you don't have a lot of wire slack in there. Put that in place. It's looking pretty good in there. We'll do the same thing with the bridge pickup really quick here. So this is also a good time to clean out your cavities in your guitar. This is pretty, like I said, it's pretty much a mess. This guitar has obviously seen some humidity and some other things that we're finding out about as we open it up. So we're gonna roll with it like we said, but it's definitely got some interesting things going on. Okay, so we got the wires pulled tight, got our bridge pickup and our neck pickup in place. So at this point, we'll go ahead and tack down each of these pickups. We'll put in all the pickup screws, and then we'll flip it over and show you the install process. All right, pickups are in, the rings are down. Take a look at how they look in there. Definitely works pretty well. This guitar is crazy because it looks like there was a piece of tape over here that has left like a ghost mark in the nitro on the guitar. There's just literally a mark that cannot come off. It's actually seeped through the paint, some kind of chemical in the tape or something like that. Very interesting, even on the binding there. So like I said, this guitar's got some interesting things going on. Let's flip it over. All right, we're over here at the back of the cavity here. We've got our neck pickup wire right here, and we've got our bridge pickup wire here. Good idea, again, to take a silver Sharpie or some kind of way to mark these. One thing we're gonna have to do is also push back or strip back the wires, because this is not long enough, not quite long enough to really get to those places. I'd like to leave a little extra wire, because in case we do want to do some push pulls, or we talked about potentially rewiring this whole thing at some point. So we're gonna want to do that. We're gonna want to make sure that that these new pots get put in place. So we're gonna do kind of like they did before, is we're just gonna leave a lot of extra length. Typically I like to trim them right up to the pots, make the wiring look clean. But since it's a mess, and knowing that I'm gonna fix it later, we'll just go with it like it is for now. And because I didn't mark these, we're gonna go ahead and just check out on multimeter. If you have like a regular digital multimeter, just making sure, in our case, we have the red and the black wires. You can see it's reading just about 8, so that would be the neck pickup. Go ahead and install them one at a time. To strip back the wires, we use these really cool vice grips. You can find them at Lowe's. It's an automatic wire stripper. You can see there you can adjust the tension. That allows us to get enough wire stripped back. They work very, very fast and efficient. And we just want to make sure that we're getting enough to get to the ground and get to the hot as well. One more thing we'll talk about too is we put in this neck pickup. Now we pre-solder these from our factory, if you will. So you're going to be able to just install them like that. They're already soldered. The green and white is the coil split connection, so that has to be soldered together. But in this case, we're not using it for this guitar. So we're going to actually kind of tuck it off to the side, and then after we finish here, we'll tape this connection to make sure that that doesn't touch any grounds or anything like that. So the red and the bare are going to the back of the pot, and then this black is going to the hot lug of the pot. So let's go ahead and get that one installed first. I'll try to pull up a little bit closer to that neck pickup pot. We want to make sure that you guys can see kind of the install process. Again, this is a ugly, nasty, offensive, whatever words you want to use, wiring cavity at this point. So it's just a mess, but we'll get through it here. So we're going to take, usually it depends on how you want to route everything. We're going to kind of keep the wires tucked away so you guys can see what's happening. Yeah, this is a mess for sure. But we're going to kind of get some of this extra stuff out of here. There's some extra pieces of wire, and oftentimes you can use your existing solder pools. It's a good idea to get some clean solder in there. It looks like there was also some flux. If you see kind of that brown material kind of all around, there was probably flux put on there as well. So we're going to get that grounded in there. And it's a good idea as well to kind of pre-tin. Looks like in this case the hot wire black is not pre-tinned, so we're going to get some solder on that. If you can, use tweezers because you don't want to be touching your soldering iron. And we're going to see if we can slide that right into the eyelet. And sometimes I'll take the iron and just actually bend the the wire over so it's actually contacting the metal. In this case, it is just all sorts of crazy with that capacitor running over there. All right, over at the bridge pickup here, you can kind of see the weird discoloration of the tape there. It looks like they maybe had a different jack on there or something. There's all sorts of weird stuff, like we said, with this guitar. But let's take a look at the bridge pot there. We'll get that install going. See if I can get this focused a little bit better for you guys. Here we go. Okay, same process here. We're going to strip back the wire. Makes our installation a little bit easier. Pull that off, and then basically we're going to get rid of that shield on there as well. Okay, we got that set. Tuck that green and white. Then just pay attention if you're installing other pickups other than ours. Make sure you're paying attention to the color codes for the ground and the hot. Don't want to hook it up wrong and be ready to rock out on your new guitar and it sounds all weird. We definitely don't want that. So we'll pre-tin the hot wire. Ground wire looks like it needs just a little bit more solder. Doesn't make our lives easier. We'll go ahead and tuck this around here. I'm going to try to hit the ground over on this side. Apologize if everything's in the way. It's hard to find a camera angle that makes sense. I'm used to kind of installing this a different way too, just the way that I'm sitting. So there we go. Got the ground on there, and we're going to go ahead and pull the hot wire around, get it into the lug. A lot of times people use zip ties, things like that, to kind of clean up their wire that's floating around the cavity. Definitely a good idea, just to keep it as clean as possible. All right, so we're going to get this other hot wire in place. Drop it down through the eyelet of the lug of the pot. Again, just kind of like folding it over so you're trying to have metal to metal contact, making sure the solder joints look clean and shiny, and it looks like we're good to go there. All right, last thing that we talked about doing is just taping that green and white wire connection. Getting some tape around it. We could do shrink tubing. Right now we're just going to use kind of some pickup tape and then just kind of pull that wire up around the rest of it and then just tape it off. So we have the option to use it later on, but it's not going to come in contact with anything else. Nice thing is kind of with these Les Paul styles guitars, you can actually kind of tuck wires in and behind pots and things like that. For this purpose, we're gonna assume everything's good to go. Get our plate back on, put our screws back on, and we will get this thing tuned up and hear how it sounds with the new pickups. Okay, one quick note, looks like everything's ready to go. Just want to make sure we put these pickups back kind of where they were before so we can do this kind of A-B comparison. Typically, I like a neck pickup backed off quite a bit. Bridge pickup raised up, especially even more on set neck and angled headstock guitars. Really want to try to match the pickups to the way the strings are coming down off the bridge over the fretboard. So typically, even in the pickup rings, you can see how this is reflected, but we want to get the pickups kind of balanced in that way. So we're going to leave the pull pieces where they're at. We're just going to give this a little bit of a, basically going to go for just kind of an even height on both of these. And we're taking a look at where the other ones were set, and we're going to try to mimic exactly the pickup height so we can see how they sound in direct comparison. So we're going to leave everything set up on the amp the same way. Let's go ahead and go over and listen to how they sound. All right, so there was the before and after of the pickup install. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button to watch more videos. If you have suggestions for video topics and ideas, other things you'd like to see, definitely let us know about that. We're also going to be doing a future video of this specific guitar that we just demoed. more of a long form demo of what the Anthem Plus sound like in that guitar, as well as a pickup height demo. So we can talk about kind of how to set your pickup heights on your Les Paul. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.